No, and I'm delighted to hear that you're both discussing what you think it might be. So what happened there when I was out? What were you saying?
We're discussing the fact that it's a sort of triangular area. She's just across from me over the hill and what I mean. And this is right, it's just, and you mentioned that there's some sort, you're saying that like a road with the water, when it dries up, it has a sort of a look.
Yeah, no, do you know when you're looking at the
Yeah.
one, I was just saying when I'm looking at sometimes,
Yeah.
some things, sometimes remind you of the distortion on the road, you know, on a hot day, like.
Oh, like vacillation of hot air over a road, that
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
looking at some of the objects, you feel there's a heat distortion, there's a heat signature.
A haziness, I like to call it. Yeah, there's the same things I see.
A haziness of the object.
That was just trying the word I was
Yeah.
trying to describe.
And that haziness.
Luminous, hazy, so they look like, I don't, something like, that's exactly what you said. That's right.
So basically, you're saying there's a heat signature. You think it might,
yeah.
if it's not hot, there's some kind of
Or
movement.
if maybe that's the way it's cloaking itself or
It
something,
could
Yeah.
I
be.
don't know, that's.
I have a theory, and I was thinking myself. I was wondering they're not quite alien, but interdimensional.
Well, you had said this to me before,
Yeah,
that
that's
you
what
felt
I'm-
that they weren't necessarily extraterrestrial.
Like the old fairy folk.
Yeah. Nobody knows. There's all those theories,
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
say. Just to get back to the apparition, there was no. What did anything happen after that? Firstly, did you wait until it disappeared out of the sky, or did you just?
We
Okay.
went back in, and I'm nearly sure that was the night that we had one of the flashes in the room as well.
So let's talk about these flashes.
I can't remember if I had my eyes open or closed, but there was one night we were both lying in bed, and just this camera flash went off in front of both of our eyes.
Oh,
Come a bit closer, Sophie, because you've just come out
And then
of
there
the
was
shot.
another night where I was just going to sleep and I had my eyes closed, but I still seen it. And he said to me, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah." And
But talk to me a little bit now. I'll talk about that in a minute with you. But talk to me about the night the UFO or UAP chased both of you, or at least shone a light.
that was the night I was on about when I got up to the hill with the laser.
okay.
And then once I got it up to the hill, I tried and turned the laser
So
off.
then I'm going to actually just move in. Yeah.
I turned the laser off, and then it let out a spotlight down onto the field, and I thought I was looking for the laser, so I shined it again and I chased it with this big spotlight, you know, like a spotlight from a helicopter maybe.
Yes, yes.
But it wasn't a helicopter; it was moving too fast and
Yes.
too low.
No noise.
No noise, going every direction, and it kept chasing the laser anyway. I thought it was hilarious. He was getting a bit afraid himself, so he was. But it shined. It did follow us, and then when I shined the laser, it came up to. It shined the light at our feet.
Oh,
Do you know, at our doorstep, so it did, and we ran in the door, and we got frightened and we closed the door.
So it comes along the ground.
It was still in the same spot on the hill, just shining the light, but it did come a bit closer to us, and then the spotlight almost just shot up like this towards our feet, you know, when it landed on us.
Yeah.
So we ran in the door and we closed it. Now I was looking at the glass bit in the door, but it was still searching for us. I went back out a few minutes later and it had split into three. The one light just split into three, and two went off one way and the other one just went up.
And what colour were they?
Just white, like a torch.
Sophie, come on in.
Sorry.
And you want to snuggle in here beside me so that people can see you. Okay, so that's not unusual. You've probably seen UFO footage where the light splits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was following you, or following the green laser. So then this strobe light, when did that start to happen?
I can't remember when it started. That happened a couple of times. It happened twice inside in the room, and then it happened to us a few times when we were out watching the sky. And
There's this big light,
yeah,
this
there
big
was
flash.
something. It happened to himself a lot more than me. He heard a noise one time at the hedge and looked across the hedge and it went off in his face. Well,
Okay.
it was huge, obviously, but you know, it felt like it was right in front of his face. He said.
And it illuminates very,
Oh,
very
yeah.
quickly. So have you all... Sorry, go ahead.
Sometimes it's purple, and then sometimes it's silver. It's different.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Mm.
Different colours is very interesting. So have you seen the footage for the orb that descends onto the Dome of the Mount?
I didn't know.
Okay, so this white silver orb that it's, you know, I think it happened in 2014. It descends onto the Dome of the Mount and it does the strobe flash and then zooms off up.
Okay.
So the
That's
whole
exactly the
city
same
lights up.
Okay.
And so you're describing what you feel is the same flash. It's the same flash that the Men in Black in the movie used to make people disremember. They do a flash.
Men in Black, yes.
In that movie.
Yes.
So have you heard of a thing called plausible deniability? It's a military thing where
Oh, yes.
you hide the information in plain sight,
Right,
and you ridicule it,
yes.
and then people are like, strobe light Sophie,
Yeah.
Men in Black Sophie,
Mm.
so nobody pays any attention to it.
Okay,
You know?
right.
So, but I'm paying attention to it. Have you had missing time?
Not that I've noticed.
Not that you've noticed.
No, but I've been thinking about this, and you asked me last time, I wouldn't know, would I?
Well, no, that's the other thing. This is what I was laughing, because I had said to Sophie, are you sure they didn't just zap you when they left his back? And now you don't know that you were
But I
abducted
definitely
or...
know I did see that though, you know, I definitely did. And it's always at times when we're watching stuff or there's something. Like there was a
Okay.
time we heard a growl. We seen the flash and we went to the hedge as well and we heard a growl.
What kind of a growl?
It was the scariest thing I've ever heard. It was really close, but even though we weren't too, it seemed like it was right in both of our ears, and it was, I don't know, I think I described you before as like a mix of like a bull and a big dog or something, and it was like growling when it was breathing in as well. You know, it was very scary.
So, do you know if it was a dog?
It wasn't a dog.
Do you know if it was a bull?
It wasn't. It was on the main road, the hedge to the main road, like, you know.
So you feel this could be a cryptozoological?
Oh, definitely sounded like that's it. We were that afraid. He pushed me out of the way and ran ahead of me.
He's like,
You know, we were pushing each other to get through first.
He's a keeper.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, I mean, I think your experiences are phenomenal. I think at the same time they are not that unusual, insofar as that a lot of people are giving testimony like this now. Now you're mad. We're going to wrap this up pretty shortly, because I still have to meet the both of you again and do a separate interview. But I want to get back to the helicopters.
Oh, yes.
With you.
Well, them helicopters started around the 2016 mark and went on for over a year or so.
Okay, I'm going to hold the mic up here.
Well, they'll come up from the bog beside me. Well, after say 7:30 at night, always at night, early in the morning. It wouldn't be during the day, it'd be all night.
And they'd have their searchlight on.
They'd have a red light on them, and that's it. You wouldn't be very hard to discern what they were in the darkness. Unless you see them in a moonlit night, you might figure them out to be helicopters.
So they were black?
They were black, yes. And they always followed the track of that UFO I spoke about earlier.
Yeah. And you were highly suspicious of them?
I am, yeah.
Because what's a helicopter doing on a bog?
Absolutely, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, with no markings, no nothing.
And would you get up and go and look at it?
I did a couple of times to see, because they made a big noise coming through. So.
And would you be worried about your animals?
Well, would be, yeah.
And did anything happen to any of your animals?
No, none. Because they're walking in the general area, my animals were down that field, which is way down.
Okay.
It's 20 or 30 acres now, so it wouldn't be.
They were coming from a quarry, were they?
A bog.
A bog.
With the general direction of a bog.
Okay.
And they'll wheel off towards the general direction of the hill and wheel again.
Hill and wheel.
Yeah.
You would ask me before about helicopters
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and I said no. But after I heard your story,
Yes.
with my partner, and we realised there actually was a lot of helicopters during the night as well, very late.
Yes.
Sometimes wake you up late, you know, like.
And you just never... And
Never
again,
clicked at me, so it didn't. And it's always flying over towards one of me.
Correct.
Always.
Same as
And we've
myself.
often seen them in pairs.
Same
too.
as coming out the bog and flying towards Mullinby.
Oh,
I think there was
what
one
it
day
is, yeah.
there was 2 and 2 right behind each other.
There was 2 in a row.
4
Yeah,
helicopters?
I'm nearly 100%. I must say to myself.
Black?
As far as I can remember, yeah.
4 helicopters?
Well, there
Two
was
and two,
Well, yeah, 2 and 2 with me too. There's 2 one time there and another, and then another 3 in a row.
And was there
Singles,
some
But
kind
this
of...
is like
But this
2020, 21 as well. This isn't
It was
years
around, the
ago.
last one I see was around 2017, around that.
Okay, so you saw them in 2020. Did you see 4 together? Did I
Yeah,
misunderstand that?
no, there'd be 2 flying and 2 behind it.
Did they look...
double check when I come, but I'm nearly 1,000%
Did they look
sure.
army? Did they look...
I can't remember, but
The reason I'm
they're
fascinated...
not small helicopters.
They're big.
Yeah.
They're big, and there's
And
no markings,
noisy.
there's no
Yeah,
markings.
oh yeah, they're choppers.
Okay,
like,
so the
they're-
reason
I
I'm
know
fascinated...
markings in them. I know that they're black. They're
I
black.
can't remember now, but I just remember it never clicked with me. I just, if I see helicopters, I'd assume it's
Yeah.
the army. or something.
Yeah,
That's
so
why,
did
yeah.
I. Yeah,
Oh,
same.
did you?
I thought
Yeah.
it was
I never-
Well, I think our army has 1 helicopter. I know our Air Force has very few. We've very few planes. We can't afford them. They're
Oh,
very
really?
expensive to run.
So we have something here.
Well, something.
Yeah.
Well, look, I suppose it's also this new thing that has come out with UAPs, particularly with Lou Elizondo and particularly with Skinwalker Ranch, where you have Dr. Colin Kelleher, the biochemist, and George Knapp wrote this book. But they talk about the shape-shifting of the technology as
Alright.
much as the shape-shifting of the man. They talk about, and when we look at that article that was in the topic, he's cutting a hedge, and he said, I thought it was an old-fashioned plane that went overhead initially. So, and then he realised, actually, no, it was a UAP.
Okay.
So this shape-shifting quality, this kind of ability to mess with our cognition and our perception is not unusual. Look, you've been fantastic first guest. I have to do more. I'm going to have to do your interview again, the first one I did with you, and likewise with you, Sophie.
No problem.
And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this will be fine just going up as it is. So I'm hoping to get this up and aired, and I'll give you the link to the site.
Absolutely.
So there's more. We're about to set up an organisation, myself and Anthony and Sophie, and we're going to try and collect hard data. And if anybody else out there is living in Ireland and wants to get in touch, please contact me on email at paranormalnewsdeskireland@gmail.com. Meanwhile, to be continued. Thank you very much.